I discovered that I have been an unintentional hypocrite. What? An unintentional hypocrite? Well, if you're a hypocrite, does it matter if it's unintentional or not? Okay. And I had this breakthrough last week that I had no idea I needed. In fact, I knew I didn't need it. But I had this breakthrough that was so mind-blowing, it caused me to question so many things that I thought I knew about myself. And I was like, is that really me? I mean, is that really me? I thought I was past this like a long time ago. I thought I left that several states ago, right? Like when you're traveling across the country. Well, anyway, in this video today, I'm going to tell you why you stay stuck. I didn't know I was stuck, but I was stuck. Like in most aspects of my life, I am very unstuck. I have been like if you would have asked me last Thursday morning, Myron, in what area of your life are you stuck? I wouldn't have been able to think of a thing. Not one thing I could have thought of in an area of my life in which I'm stuck. And I found an area of my life in which I was stuck Friday morning at, I don't know, no, it wasn't. It was actually, if you'd asked me Wednesday, it was Thursday morning at like 3:30 in the morning when I woke up with indigestion, couldn't go back to sleep, and then I'm laying on my biohacking table and I'm doing biohacking, and I'm watching videos, Instagram reels, of this golf fitness performance coach. And I'm watching, and I probably watched, and I know y'all are going to think this is obsessive, so pray for me or judge me, whichever the case may be. I probably watched 50 or 60 of this guy's videos. And he told a story about how he used to hit the ball 330, but now he hits it 370. I'm like, as if 330 is not long enough, right? And so I went to message him, and I realized that I messaged him before. I followed him, and he thanked me for it, and then I asked him where he was from, and then I never looked at it again, but Rebecca on our team kept communicating with him back and forth. And so I said, hey, sorry, I just saw these messages between you and Rebecca. This is actually Myron, blah, 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 and I asked him a question. So it turned out that we jumped on a call, on a call. I went to the driving range. Now I'm realizing I don't even remember what day it was. Okay, but I went to the driving range, and I was hitting golf balls, and he was watching me on a video call. And while I'm talking to this guy, I had this aha that like floored me. And I realized why I'm so internally, unconsciously resistant to working out. Okay, now, I work out. I'm in moderately decent shape, but I realized why I'm not in the shape that I intended to be in by now 7 months ago, not even close. And I realized, the reason I'm stuck at this plateau is because I used to be strong. I know that sounds crazy. And so, like, there was a time in my life I was very strong. When I was in 10th grade, I weighed 135 pounds. I could bench press 288 pounds. I was strong. For most of my 20s and 30s, I could drop down and do 100 push-ups without even thinking about it or without losing my breath. And now if I did 60, I'd be like, right? So it's a very different experience. And so I remember when I used to be strong, and I've gotten progressively weaker. So my strength has digressed over time. And so here's what occurred to me. The reason I've not gone all in on my fitness intentionally is because subconsciously I felt like it's not going to do any good anyway. Well, because I'm 64. And they say, well, when you get older, you get weaker, blah, blah, blah. That's not necessarily true. And I didn't believe it consciously. I didn't believe that consciously. But subconsciously, there was something in me that was holding me back from going all in. Because I used to hit the golf ball farther than I hit it now. So why don't I hit it farther now? I used to hit it farther and straighter than I hit it now. Why? Because I haven't set the same level of intention in that aspect of my life. And that may seem totally unimportant to you. Now, for me, it was an area in my life I'm stuck in my fitness. But for you, I'm talking about stuck in your fitness. I'm talking about stuck in your a job that you hate. I'm talking about stuck. So I really started hyper-focusing on like why people stay stuck, why people stay stuck, why people stay. And I thought about this all weekend. Like this is the thing that infiltrated my brain for the entire weekend. Why do people stay stuck in relationships that are not working? Why do people stay stuck at a weight that they're not happy with, or at a fitness level that they're not happy? Why do people stay stuck at a financial level, or at a job that they hate? Why do people stay stuck? And so I started thinking, okay, and I wrote down everything I could think of. And if you are stuck, I promise you, at least I believe, there's not another video that you'll ever watch on YouTube or television or anywhere else that will show you specifically the things you have to do to get unstuck. And they're different for different people because there's a bunch of reasons why people, I'm not talking about why you get stuck. I'm talking about why people stay stuck. I'm talking about stay stuck for months and weeks and years and decades stuck at the same place when God commanded us and created us to be progressively productive, which means today's supposed to be better than yesterday, this week's supposed to be better than last week, this month's supposed to be better than last month. We're supposed to grow as human beings. Okay, so this is why I'm stuck. So if you're saying it, say it in the first person. So this is why I'm stuck. Seven breakthrough moves to get you unstuck. There's only 7. Are y'all ready for 7? Everybody say 7. Okay, here we go. Number 1, the lessons you haven't learned yet. Some people are stuck because they don't know what to do to get unstuck. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to go to my board. Here's the thing. In order to learn the lessons you haven't learned yet, you have to be interested. So how do I solve this one? The lessons that I haven't learned yet. You have to be interested. So how do you solve that? Time, curiosity, and intention. You have to start with time. So, first of all, you have to give yourself time. Whatever transformation you're going to have, you're not going to have it in 15 minutes. See, intensity is good. But if I had to choose between intensity and consistency, I'd choose consistency. Now, if you can have consistent intensity, right, and then give yourself some time, transformation is inevitable. It's inevitable. And so it's so interesting when I think about the formula of be, do, have, and the platform of time, space, and matter. So if you got the platform of time, space, and matter, and you have the parameters of be, do, and have, in fact, I'm going to write it on here because I know some people are watching this video for the first time. So if you look at the platform is time, space, and matter, right? And then that's the platform. In fact, I'll write platform right there so y'all get it. But the parameters are be, do, have. Okay? Those are the parameters. So how God set it up from the very beginning is the purpose of the platform of time is being. Time exists to give us time to become the person. Anything that you are going to learn to do so you can become a different person that you're not right now, it's going to take time. So give yourself ample time. Does that make sense, everybody? Are y'all with me? Okay. So then, if you're going to do something, you need a space for it. You need space. If you're going to do something, it requires space. And then, so the purpose of time the purpose of time is being, the purpose of space is doing, the purpose of matter is having. Now, I was sharing this with the mastermind I talked to yesterday. See, your desire to have, this is where we focus most of our time, effort, and energy. I'd like to have this result. I'd like to have result, right? I'd like to have this result. And so we hyper-focus on the result, but what we don't realize is, like many of the things that we desire, the good things that we desire to have in our lives, the desire itself is a gift from God. Did I say that too fast? The good things that we desire to have, the desire itself is a gift from God. And a lot of people think, oh, my desire to have is because the only reason I desire to have is because I'm discontent. No. I mean, discontentment can cause people, but you can be fully content and still desire to have something nicer. You can be fully content and still desire to have a life that's better. Like, I'm fully content. But I'm not going to just go lay down. I'm not going to stop working just because I can. I like the work I do. I like what the work I do does for other people. And I'm going to be fully transparent. I like what the work that I do does for me, financially and otherwise. So your desire to have is a gift from God. But God set it up in such a way that in order for you to have, you must do. You've got to take the action. In order to get the result, you have to take the action, right? And so when I first taught this, my wife said, well, Myron, what's the difference between this, what you just taught about, there's nothing wrong with desiring to have a nice car, a nice house, and a bank account full of money, and health in your body, and a good relationship with it. What's the difference between that and covetousness? Covetousness is a desire to have without the willingness to do the right thing in order to have it. That's what covetousness is. Covetousness is not a desire to have. Covetousness is your desire to have something you have no right to because you didn't do the right thing in order to have it. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you want some money, but you don't want to work for it, right? You want to have sex, but you don't want to be married to the person. Are y'all tracking? Yeah. So that's what God said. Okay, but we are already doing 100% of everything we can do who we are right now. You're already doing 100% of everything you can do. In order for you to do more than you're doing, you have to become more than you've been being. Yes. And so God said, the seed is becoming. So this is the seed. This is where it all begins. The seed is the becoming. You become the person, and then you'll be able to do the stuff, and then you'll have the result. Okay, so I was not aware, I was not consciously aware of my subconscious resistance to an activity that would produce a result that I desired. Are y'all tracking? And when I became aware of it, because as a general rule, and I've stated this clearly, erroneously, as a general rule, I don't give energy to outcomes I don't desire. Yes. I only give energy to outcomes I desire. And I realized I was giving this thought energy of this is not going to work, so why would I work on it? Energy to working out for the specific purpose, in my case, of being able to hit the golf ball farther. I'm just being transparent, y'all. Y'all say, that's not a big deal. It is a big deal. Because if I was missing that, it made me question what else am I missing? Are y'all tracking? Okay, so the lessons you haven't learned yet. So give yourself some time, increase your curiosity, and then set an intention. And then start taking steps and measuring the progress. So that's the first one. The reason you stay stuck, number one, is because lessons you haven't learned yet. But wait, there are 6 more. Can y'all handle the next one? Oops. The work, that's right, Mike. The work you've been avoiding. The work you've been avoiding. The work you've been avoiding is one of the reasons you stay stuck. People say, Myron, tell me what to do. Most people's problem, why they stay stuck, is not because they don't know what to do. Yes. Most people's problem, why they stay stuck, is because they don't do the work they know. Oh, snap. We all know this. Well, I'm having a hard time losing weight. Okay, I'm going to give you the formula. It's 2 steps. Ready? Eat less, move more. Did I say it too fast? That's 4 words, right? Okay, here we go. Eat less, do more. So I was gone on vacation for a month. I came back. I see Dr. Sam. He's like, well, that's his face. But he's a totally different dude from the neck down. Bro, what did you do? And he said he had this particular workout routine, and he eats 1 meal every 1 to 3 days. And no sugar. I was paying attention, wasn't I, Doc? Okay. And so I'm thinking about that. And I don't eat a lot of sugar, but I was eating I was eating some form of carbs every day, like some chips, a protein shake with almond milk and a banana and a whole bunch of fruit. I love fruit. I do love fruit. It has a lot of stuff in it that I love, not just the sugar. And so I decided yesterday, okay, I'm going to do a test. I'm just going to do a test. I'm not going to have any glucose spikes today. Now, if for those of you who don't know what that means, there's a book called The Glucose Revolution. And one of the things the woman in the book talks about is one of the things that causes, like, that has a major effect on mortality is how many glucose spikes you have every day, right? And it's not good for any, like, glucose spikes are pretty much not good for anything in your body, nothing. And so I said, okay, I'm gonna have no glucose. I said, I did a test. I've never done this before. I mean, I've fasted before, but I'm talking about while eating. I'm not gonna have any glucose spikes today. So all I ate some eggs yesterday morning. That was it, just ate a bunch of eggs. And then I had some eggs with a little bit of salsa, and I was done. Then it was lunchtime. And so they had chicken, they had beef, they had fish, and I said, well, I'll get some of all of that. And, they had some avocado. I'll take a little bit of avocado, too. So that's all I ate for lunch. Came home last night. I was going to eat some chicken and broccoli. I wasn't even hungry. I'm like, what? Like, I'm always hungry. And I'm a foodie. But I realized that this work, I had to put it in a box that I could appreciate. Like, don't eat sugar is not a box I can appreciate. I'm like, I can already dismiss that by saying I don't eat that much sugar. Right? Well, I'm gonna do the carnivore diet. If I say that, that's very unappealing to me. But when I said I'm not gonna have any glucose spikes, just do a test not having any glucose spikes, I said, well, that makes sense. Like, not having any glucose spikes is an objective that I can really wrap my mind around, and I know what I have to do to not have any glucose spikes. So I had to put it in language that caused me to be willing to do the work I've been avoiding. See, hey, watch this now. I ain't fussing at y'all. I'm fussing at me and letting you watch. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? So the outcomes that we desire are on the other side of the lessons we haven't learned and the work we've been avoiding. We have different reasons for avoiding work. So one of the reasons I was avoiding the work is because I thought, well, subconsciously, not consciously, well, it's not going to do any good anyway, right? I've lost 10 yards of distance on my irons from where I used to hit them. 10 yards. I got fitted for new clubs. Still 10 yards. That doesn't mean anything unless you're a golfer, but I used to hit my pitching wedge 140 yards. Now I only hit it 130 yards. I used to hit my 5-iron 190 yards. Now I only hit it 180 yards. And so for me, losing distance is a disadvantage if you're playing golf. And I like to win. I'm just keeping it real. You say, what do you win? Bragging rights and the ability to talk more trash next time. But I like that, right? And so I'm like, okay. So yeah, I get it. I've got a brace for my leg. I get it. I can't do a full turn. I get it. My left knee doesn't bend. But I can make other parts of my body strong enough to hit the ball 40 or 50 yards farther than I hit it right now. And now I'm not going to avoid the work anymore because I realized I was avoiding the work because I thought it wasn't going to work. What aspect of your life have you been avoiding the work because you believed it wasn't going to work? Can I get away? Can anybody relate to me even though I'm just fussing at me? Okay, good. So the work we've been avoiding. So sometimes we avoid the work because we think it's not going to work. Other times we avoid the work because the pay of the work we are doing is too far in the future. And so we've been so programmed, I'm going to take this jacket off because now I'm hot. We've been so programmed to be addicted to a paycheck. Can you cool me off a little bit, Juwan? So, or somebody, yeah. So addicted to a paycheck that if we work on something that's not paying us immediately, we don't want to work on it, right? I think about my book, the Boss Moves book. Boss Moves book. I worked on that book for 1.5 years. Made no money. Spent a bunch of money on it. Made no money for 1.5 years. But I knew that once it was done, it was going to do well. Didn't know it was going to do this well, right? But I did the work. I was willing to do the work even though the pay was deferred, right? And so there are areas of our lives in which we are stuck that we have to move away from this whole desire for immediate gratification, or I'm not doing it. Are y'all tracking? Okay. So, the work we've been avoiding. And so I'm telling you this so you can think about your own life. Hey, have I been avoiding any work? And if I have, are these some of the reasons? Okay. By the way, you understand that I'm talking about, most of the things I'm talking about having an internal resistance to the transformational mechanism that can bring the transformation that we desire. And see, what we have to realize is that what I resist persists. How long does it persist? As long as I resist it. What I resist persists. But watch this. What I embrace becomes grace, and grace is a gift. So if I stop resisting the things that I know will do the thing, then that will give me exactly what I'm looking for. Here we go. The work you've been resisting. Number 3. The thoughts you've been unwilling. I'm sorry, you've been reluctant, not unwilling. The thoughts you've been reluctant to consider. And I thought, why are we resistant to consider a thought? A couple reasons. Number one reason we're afraid to consider thoughts that we've been reluctant about. You ready? Because they question our answers. What does that mean? They cause us to question things that we already believe are answers. And if we got the answers from somebody that we care about and somebody who cared about us, then we believe that if I consider like this thought not being something that I'm going to hold dear, then somehow I'm abandoning this person I loved or love or somebody that loves me, like mom, dad, brother, sister, favorite Sunday school teacher, pastor, grandmother, grandfather, aunt, uncle. If we got this idea from them, then we're unwilling to consider that maybe they were off a little on that. And so the ideas that we are reluctant to consider have the ability, to bring a transformation that we can't get any other way. It's like you said this morning, Dr. Sam, like you were trained in traditional medicine and you're naturally a skeptic. And so the idea to entertain that maybe there's another way, that's a better way, that's natural, I don't know, right? That's where it started. But fortunately for you and the people you serve, you were willing to consider that there's a possible alternative, right? See, a friend of mine said to me a long time ago, he said, Myron, I'm going to tell you something. I would rather have questions I can't answer than answers I can't question. Ain't that good? And so many people have answers they can't question. Well, but if I start questioning this, the people in my religious group, they're going to ostracize me. If I start questioning this, the people in my family, they're going to think I'm crazy. If I start questioning this, the people in my work are going to think if I start questioning this, what's my spouse going to... And we start having all this resistance to even considering thoughts that are different than the thoughts we've had. Here's my challenge. Just look around your life and see if it looks like you'd like it to look by now. And if it doesn't, maybe it's time to entertain some new thoughts. Hashtag just saying. Why else do people resist thoughts? People resist thoughts automatically because of cognitive bias. What's cognitive bias? I look for information, ideas, and thoughts that confirm the things I already believe. And unfortunately, there are a lot of major tech companies that capitalize, like monetarily, by the billions of dollars on our cognitive bias, and they literally make money dividing people based on their cognitive biases. If you're a conservative, you're going to see mostly conservative videos. They're going to show you mostly conservative posts on social media. If you're a liberal, they're going to show you mostly liberal thought, mostly liberal posts on social media. If you believe something, they're going to show you the stuff you believe, and they're going to show you why the people who don't believe what you believe are crazy. And see, I already know, if anybody ever disagrees with me about anything, I am right 100% of the time. Would y'all like to know what I'm right about? There's a 50% chance they could be right, and there's a 50% chance I could be right. That's what I'm right about 100% of the time. So I am not afraid to consider thoughts that are opposing ideas that I already believe. Why? Because if I'm right, I'd like to know why. And if I'm wrong, I'd like to change. Like, let me ask you a question. Like, can you honestly say that? I am not afraid to have an open, intentional, unintense conversation with somebody I disagree with about anything. Because if I'm right, I want to know why. And if I'm wrong, I want to change. Wow. Because most people don't want to hear things that oppose things they believe. Are y'all tracking? Okay. So, the thoughts you've been reluctant to consider. That was number 3. What's number 4? Number 4 is, oh boy, Family Feud, here we go. Hard conversations you've been hesitant to have. Hard conversations you've been hesitant to have. How many of y'all know that hard conversations are essential to improvement? So, like, I'm probably a little bit too willing. I'm sure people feel like I'm too willing to have hard conversations sometimes. But when I'm coaching people, sometimes people will say, I'll say, okay, ask me your question. When I'm doing like a coaching session, a group coaching session, ask me your question. Well, what happened was I was over at my uncle's house the other day, and nope, that's not a question. Start with a question. Here's what a question looks like. What, when, why, where, how, and then follow it with an interrogative. Well, my question is how, when I was at my uncle's house, that's still not a question, right? And if somebody asked me a question, and they asked me a business question, and they paid me to ask me a question, well, this is my business. What do you think about it? Do you want me to give you like the full transparent truth that I believe? That is a terrible business idea. If I believe it's a terrible business idea, what else should I say? Should I say, oh, that might work. Now I'm lying and getting money for it. Are y'all tracking? See, if you're going to get married and you're going to stay married, you're going to have some hard conversations with your spouse. Why? Because most women think men are male misbehaving women. And men think women are female hyper-emotional males. I know it's so wild. It's like, hey, not only is he not you, he ain't even like you. Not only is she not you, she's not even like you. See, opposites attract. You know how long they attract? Until they attack. Can I get a witness? And so you have to be willing to have the hard conversations that might end in like a longer conversation than you want to have. It might end in a total disagreement. It could end in somebody calling somebody names, which it ought not to ever turn to that, but sometimes it does. I'm just talking about what people go through. And so we don't have the hard conversations, right? And so I'm talking about hard conversations with people that you love. To me, hard conversation with people I love is harder than hard conversation with people that I'm not that close to, right? I'm talking about hard conversation with siblings. I'm talking about hard conversations with parents. I'm talking about hard conversations with adult children. Hard conversations. One of the things I love about my son and my daughter, they're both very, very willing to have hard conversations with me. I don't love the hard conversations. I don't love them. But I love the fact that my children have enough intestinal fortitude to say, Dad, this, okay, I'm just going to tell you this. You might not like it, but I'm going to tell you. Well, go ahead on with your bad self. I love that. I love it when a friend comes to me and says, hey, I noticed this. Are you sure? I love that. I don't like it, but I love it. Because hard conversations, if you don't have a hard conversation with them, what you're going to have is you're going to have an internal long conversation with yourself and then come to a conclusion about them that you've never included them in on. Can I get a witness? And so we stay stuck. So we stay stuck in relationships that are unfulfilling and they're inharmonious because we are willing to do our part in having the hard conversation because we're afraid that their feelings might get hurt. We don't want to hurt people's feelings. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I certainly don't want to hurt the feelings of the people I love. But yet, it has to happen. Why? Guess what? I've got 6 brothers. We're all different. We're similar, but we're different. And I don't think any of my brothers have a hard time having, I mean, they probably feel the same way I do. They don't have a hard conversation. But it has to happen because the transformation you're looking for is on the other side of the conversation that you've been hesitant to have just because it's a hard conversation. If our lives are going to be progressively productive and we're going to continue to get better, then we have to start handling some of this stuff that's been lingering in the shadows. And by the way, the only reason I'm talking to you about this today is because I discovered it was true about me and I didn't think it was. I'm putting myself on blast and hoping it'll help somebody else. Okay, y'all tracking. So, number 5. Wow, we're only on 5? Okay. Number 5. The skills you've been resisting to develop. The skills you've been resisting to develop. It's so interesting. How many of y'all ever feel overwhelmed with all the stuff you feel like you have to learn? Anybody I feel so, it's like, there's so much that's coming at me so fast, right? Why do we feel that way? People didn't feel that way 100 years ago. Do you know why we feel that way? Because technology makes everything change faster. Whereas 4,000 years ago, people had a couple thousand years to get ready for the next economic era. A couple hundred years ago, people had, a couple hundred years to get ready. A few decades ago, people had a couple of decades. Now, you might have 3 years to tap into what's going on now, and by the time, if you wait longer than 3 years, by the time you tap into it, it's going to be next. That's why we feel overwhelmed, because we have less time to prepare ourselves for the world that we currently live in, which is why I believe, for the most part, not for everybody, but for the most part, for most young people, a college education is a waste of time. Why? Because by the time that young person graduates from college, you go to college at 18, you graduate when you're 22, in that 4 years, by the time you graduate, you find yourself beautifully educated to earn a living in a world that no longer exists. So we've got to start becoming hyper-focused on relevant skill development. Hyper-focused on relative skill development. Relevant skill development. What does that mean? Relevant skill development. I've got to develop skills that matter now instead of developing skills that mattered 50 years ago. I've got to learn how to use AI. I've got to know how to use a computer. I've got to know how to use Instagram. I've got to know how to use, if I'm going to have a business, right? I don't have to do those things if I'm not going to have a business. But let's say if I'm going to have a job and I want to have a better job, I've got to be willing to level up my skills. if you have a job doing a thing, you better be working on a better way to do that thing, a faster way to do that thing, integrating technology to do that thing, because if you don't, somebody who is doing those things is going to come take your place. That's real talk. Skill development. It's so sadly fascinating to me that the majority of adults in the world probably don't read 5 how-to skill development books in their life after they graduate from high school or college. Mind blown. Mind blown. There are so many things, it literally goes back to the very first one, the lessons that I haven't learned yet. I learned the lesson, I developed the skill. Now I can benefit from that new way of being. Okay, that's 5. Y'all get it. Skill development. Learn how to use a computer, y'all. Learn how to use AI. Learn how to use, and I know technology is used for evil. So you be one of the people who uses it for good. I know social media is used for evil. So you be one of the people that uses it for good. It's so funny. It's so funny to me that, like, when I post a video, sometimes people will leave a comment-lopedia. You say, what's a comment-lopedia? A comment-lopedia is a comment that's as long as an encyclopedia, right? And then I go to their YouTube channel, and they've got 4 subscribers, 12 subscribers in 4 years. Like, if you're that interested in teaching, why don't you take this comment-lopedia and go do a whole YouTube video on it? Post that so you can impact somebody's life with your beliefs. But if you think they came to my video to see what you think, I mean, you can do that. More power to you. But you are delusional. Okay, y'all tracking. So, okay, I'm going to go to another page. Número 6. This may be the biggest one of all of them. Truths. That's an H. Truths you've refused to believe. You know what? This is the primary reason most people stay stuck. I remember Jesus said, he said to the believing Jews that believed on him, and here's what he said. He said, to the believing Jews that believed on him, he said, if you continue in my words, then are you my disciples indeed. And then he said, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So I want you to think about this. What is being stuck anyway? Being stuck is a form of bondage. You're bound by something that you can't escape. In any area of my life in which I am not yet free, it's an area of my life in which I've either not recognized the truth, I've not realized the truth, I've not relented to the truth, but instead, I've resisted the truth. And that's why I'm not free. Do y'all remember what the Hebrews said to Moses when he said, you shouldn't be arguing with your brother? Who made you a God over us? Who made you a ruler over us? They said, we would have been better off to have died. We were better off in Egypt, eating leeks and onions. Can you imagine the breath? Okay, anyway, sorry. Every time I think about that, that's what I think about. Maybe that's my brain. Okay, man, everybody had bad breath. Okay, cool. And you're in bondage. And when they were in bondage, what was their occupation when they were in bondage? They were brick makers and bricklayers. What is a brick? A brick is a building block. And when you're making bricks, they're all the same size. They're all stuffed with the same thing, and they all serve the same purpose. That's a sign of bondage. What do I mean that's a sign of bondage? When some organization, group of people, religion, whatever, when somebody's attempting to make everybody the same, that's a form of bondage. God makes stones. Pharaoh's kingdom made bricks. And their job, I want you to think about how wild this is. Their job was to make bricks to build the kingdom that enslaved them. Some of us are making bricks with our beliefs, and we're building the very prisons that hold us in bondage because we're unwilling to receive the truth. Are y'all tracking? So we've got to yield to truth. I wish I had time to go into truth biblically, like what truth is. Like, and when I say truth, I'm talking about in the Hebrew sense of the word amet, aleph mem tav, God's mighty covenant. That's what the word truth means, God's mighty covenant. And the word truth in Hebrew shows that if you attempt to separate God from the truth, all you have left is death. It shows that if God himself doesn't keep his word, then he himself has to die, which shows us why God refers to himself not as the God who doesn't lie, but as the God who cannot lie. Because if he lies, he dies. If he dies, everything ceases to exist. So God has staked his very existence on him keeping his word. That's why truth is so important. And by the way, there's a difference between what's true and what's truth. What's true is dynamic and can change. What's truth is static and it never changes. What does that mean? It's true right now you are watching me on YouTube. 3 hours from now, that won't be true. Unless, of course, you happen to go back and watch it again, right? But 3 hours from now, that won't be true. Those of you who are here in studio, right now, you're in the studio. But at 3 o'clock this afternoon, you won't be here. It's true that you're here, but it's not truth. Why? Because it can change. But a man is a man, and a woman is a woman. That's truth. It can't change. Are y'all tracking? Right? Like, if you go north far enough, eventually you'll go south. That's truth. It doesn't change. If you go south far enough, eventually you'll be going north. But guess what? If you go east far enough, you'll never be going west. You'll just keep going east for eternity. If you go west far enough, you'll never go east. You'll never be going east. You just keep going west. What am I saying? I'm saying truths are things that don't change. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. That's not just true, that's truth. Okay, y'all tracking. Okay, cool. So, the last one, this is the one you're probably going to hate the most. The reason you stay stuck is because of the price you've been unwilling to pay. Now, when I say price you're unwilling to pay, a lot of people the first thought that comes to their mind is money. That's one way to pay a price, but it's not the only way. That's one way. Now, oh yeah, I would do that, but it costs too much. And you could be talking about cost too much money, cost too much time, cost too much inconvenience, cost too much loss of reputation. So I'm unwilling to pay that. So the price you've been unwilling to pay is one of the reasons you stay stuck. Now, when I think about price, I think about sacrifice. Now, when I think about the word sacrifice means letting go of something of a lower nature so I can take a hold of something of a higher nature. When I think sacrifice, or I think pay a price, I think paying a lower price for a leveraged value. So even though I'm paying a price, and the price might be a lot, what I'm getting for paying that price is way more of a benefit to me than the price I paid. And see, some of us resist prices because we've been taught that price is the same as value. But price is not the same as value. It's so amazing. I see this it's really easy to see in business because it has a mathematical equivalent, but it's harder to see in some other areas. And so what has to happen is if you're unwilling to pay the price for the transformation and the freedom and the getting unstuck that you desire, then you've chosen the price of staying stuck. See, can I break it to y'all? Everybody pays. Everybody pays. Some people pay to learn, others pay for not knowing. Some people pay for the transformation, other people pay to stay stuck because they're unwilling to pay for the transformation. Some people pay the price of a breakthrough, But people who are unwilling to pay the price of a breakthrough, they end up paying the price of a breakdown. It's not whether or not you're going to pay. It's what are you going to pay for, who are you going to pay, how much are you going to pay, how long are you going to pay? Because the reality is we're paying for reward or we're paying for neglect. Reward weighs ounces. Neglect leads to regret, and regret weighs tons. Everybody pays. You either pay to learn or you pay for not knowing. So I shared with you why I stayed stuck for so long. And now all of a sudden, I had a breakthrough. I had a conversation with Dr. Sam, had a conversation with this golf fitness guy, and I'm like, oh, I get it. And I used to only work out 3 times a week if I had time, right? Okay, now it's like every day. Every day. Just work out. But Myron, you need rest. Trust me, I have more ways to recover in a short period of time than you have to recover in a long period of time. I'm going to be all right. But I work out every day. In some way, shape, or form, I'm going to make myself stronger every day. Why? Why am I going to make myself stronger every day? Because there's no such thing as staying the same. You are either getting better or you're getting worse. You're getting healthier or you're getting sicker. You're getting stronger or you're getting weaker. You're getting smarter or you're getting dumber. Right? You're moving forward or you're moving backwards. There is no standstill. And so I've decided for my life, oh yeah, I literally couldn't wait to wake up and work out this morning because I had a breakthrough. And I wanted to just come share that breakthrough with y'all. And now I'm open to the fact, I'm looking like, what other area of my life, what other area of my life, what other area of my life, what other area of my life am I thinking that I'm already doing this thing, but I'm overlooking this major aspect. So I hope this video helps you. This is really why you stay stuck. And the 7 breakthroughs. They'll change everything for you if you only let them. Thanks for watching. Stay blessed by the best, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.